Most people still expect Portugal to live up to the sunny postcard image, but everyday life often breaks from that ideal. Decades ago, Americans imagined European retirement as either an old-world adventure or a step away from comfort. Today's headlines promise perfect climates, unbeatable tax breaks, and neighbors who always smile. But Portugal is more complicated, especially for Americans considering a real move. Did you know that far fewer Americans relocate to Portugal than most reports suggest? Picture reading about crowded Lisbon apartments online, then stepping into a seaside street where the only sound is church bells and the local paper arriving at a cafe. There's a tiled square with pensioners reading at 10 a.m., children playing in the shade, and only the hint of an accent that's not Portuguese. This is not the influencer dream, but something real and layered. This video explains what truly sets life in Portugal apart, broken into 8 essential points with everyday examples, cost breakdowns, and clear comparisons to American expectations. These points come directly from official statistics, research databases, local testimonials, and verified forums, not marketing brochures or curated social media. You will get the facts that don't always make the glossy pages. But before we continue, make sure to subscribe. Number 8. Americans versus headlines. Most articles claim a wave of Americans is transforming Portugal's housing and culture, but official records tell another story. In 2021, Americans made up less than 1% of all immigrants, according to Portugal's SEF government agency. That's fewer than 8,200 people in a country of more than 10 million. Outside Lisbon and Porto, an American accent rarely echoes in the market. Grocery clerks may go years before meeting a US-born customer. Yet online chatter sometimes suggests Americans are everywhere, driving up local rents and clustering in tight-knit enclaves. Walk through a fishing village like Nazaré or a small town near Coimbra, and you're more likely to hear German or French than English from the US. Outside the main cities, older Americans find quiet streets, affordable apartments starting near $500 per month for a modest place, and almost no familiar brands. The American presence is minor, especially compared to places like Spain's Costa del Sol or Mexico's Lake Chapala. Many newcomers come expecting lively expat gatherings and run into the real surprise. Daily life feels distinctly local, sometimes even a bit isolating. The big change isn't numbers, but expectations. Number 7. Weather versus expectation. For years, Portugal's climate has been sold as endlessly sunny, drawing retirees who once flocked to Florida or Arizona. On paper, cities like Lagos boast over 300 sunny days per year. Yet Portugal sits as far north as Boston. Dark, damp winters often catch Americans off guard. In January, coastal humidity can hit 98%. A tiled living room with no central heat can feel far colder than the street outside when the thermometer reads 50 degrees Fahrenheit. To put it in context, only 15% of Portuguese homes have full heating, compared to over 90% in the US. In the Algarve, summer highs may reach 104 degrees Fahrenheit, though older residents remember decades with only mild summers. One real-world scene. In a small-town cafe, an older man sits bundled in a coat indoors while others warm hands over mugs. By April, parks and seaside benches fill again, confirming the transition. Compared to Los Angeles or Tampa, Portugal's winter discomfort comes not from absolute cold, but from damp and a lack of indoor insulation. International newcomers used to California warmth or heated homes may find adaptation slow. Air conditioning is rare and expensive to run. On the upside, utility bills average about $80 per month for a one-bedroom flat, but you may spend extra on space heaters in winter and fans in July. The seasons demand more than a suitcase can prepare you for. Number 6. Community versus privacy. Daily life runs on a different mode, especially outside Lisbon and Porto. In Portugal, the sense of community comes before self-reliance. City hall clerks and bakers remember faces, not just paperwork. Neighbors notice if the same regular skips a cafe visit. In many towns, errands slow for extended greetings. A greeting at the butcher's can last 5 minutes. For Americans, especially those who remember the private routines of post-war suburbs or the anonymity of big city life, this feels unfamiliar. In the US, success is often marked by milestones you achieve alone: a larger home, a solo drive, a corner office. In Portugal, daily success shows in the strength of your small connections, knowing the pharmacist, being greeted by name at the grocery, seeing a local priest nod in passing. For some, the focus on community is comforting, almost nostalgic. For others, it challenges a deep preference for privacy. For older men used to quiet evenings and a closed front door, it takes time to adjust to more interconnected routines. Number 5. Bureaucracy versus efficiency. Portugal moves at a measured, sometimes puzzling pace. Things that take an hour in Dallas may require 3 appointments in Lisbon. Getting a residence card can involve multiple visits, a numbered ticket, and a wait sometimes stretching 3 hours in a room full of retirees, foreign students, and young families. Obtaining a driver's license or setting up utilities may take several weeks and demand extra patience. In the U.S., even before digital tools, official tasks had clearer timelines and customer service calls lasted minutes, not afternoons. In Portugal, planning must build in flexibility. Bringing a book to the public office or chatting with others in line becomes standard. Most offices close for a long lunch break right at their busiest period. For retired Americans used to 24-hour supermarkets and same-day online delivery, the slower rhythm can spark frustration. Yet for those willing to settle in, the slower pace sometimes turns into a hidden advantage. Daily pressures relax when productivity is redefined. Number 4. Daily rhythms versus routine. Even household routines and meals challenge long-held habits. Outside big cities, a typical lunch runs from 1 to 3 p.m. and lasts up to 2 hours, with multiple courses and lively conversation. Dinner usually starts after 9 p.m. Grocery stores commonly close by 8 p.m., earlier on Sundays, making late-night shopping hard to find. A pensioner in a tiled cafe at 10 a.m. may sip espresso with neighbors, pausing only to greet the newspaper delivery. Small-town markets close for 2 hours in the afternoon, forcing residents to structure days around shop schedules. In the U.S., quick service is the rule. Drive-through coffee, short lunches, and supermarkets open until midnight. For Americans, especially those who remember 24-hour diners and weekend errands, Portugal's rhythm asks for patience. Retirees often find entire days shaped by mealtimes and market openings, not the other way around. For some, the pace reduces stress. For others, errands become an all-morning affair. Those used to ticking off a to-do list quickly may need to recalibrate. Number 3. Language versus expectation. Many Portuguese under 40 can speak English, particularly in larger cities and tourist areas. Yet, for most older adults, including doctors, bank clerks, and pharmacists, especially outside Lisbon, the default language is Portuguese. Everyday tasks like renewing prescriptions, reading legal documents, or chatting with the landlord depend on at least basic Portuguese skills. In rural areas, English is rarely heard even at the local post office. For Americans expecting to get by with English, a simple pharmacy visit or market purchase can become an unexpected hurdle. Average Americans rarely learn a foreign language past high school, putting them at risk for basic misunderstandings. Picking up the basics, numbers, greetings, and food terms changes daily life dramatically. A practical example: without Portuguese, arranging a plumber to fix a leaky tap can take hours of back and forth with a neighbor or internet translation apps. Learning even bom dia and quanto custa brings respect. Many regret waiting too long to start. The original expectation that English is enough rarely holds true for long-term comfort. Number 2. Cuisine versus variety. Portuguese cuisine thrives on local, fresh ingredients. Cod, sardines, pork, and seasonal vegetables fill most menus. Most shops, especially away from city centers, sell local produce and meats first. A simple lunch out may include grilled sea bass, potatoes, a glass of wine, and dessert for around $10. Food waste is minimal, with many dishes using parts of the animal not familiar to North Americans. Outside Lisbon and Porto, vegan or vegetarian options are limited, though market stalls overflow with greens, citrus, and beans. Americans used to multicultural options, Thai noodles, Tex-Mex tacos, New York bagels, won't find much variety. Indian food is often available, but Mexican food rarely matches true American standards. Enchiladas may arrive with ketchup instead of salsa. Deli sandwiches are uncommon. The closest alternative is a ham and cheese tosta mista, or a simple salad. For anyone used to a late-night deli stop or quick takeout, this requires adaptation. Grocery bills for a retired couple can average around $200 per month for local staples. For treats from the U.S., specialty stores in Lisbon may charge $7 for a jar of peanut butter. The comfort of familiar food is replaced by learning new flavors in mealtimes. Many arrive expecting international variety, but end up cooking at home to recreate old favorites. Number 1. Taxes versus security. Portugal's tax system differs sharply from the American model. Income tax reaches 48% for earnings above $8,000, with a 23% value-added tax on most goods. The non-habitual resident program gives newcomers a 10-year window of reduced taxes, but rates climb sharply afterward. An example: a retiree with $4,000 in pension income may face a 28% effective rate after the program ends, higher than the rate faced in many U.S. states. On the other hand, healthcare shifts the math. Private health insurance typically costs less than $100 per month and covers much of what Medicare or American supplemental plans would: hospital stays, operations, specialist treatments. A doctor's visit averages $40 without insurance, and hospital stays rarely produce surprise bills. Cancer treatment that could cost $6,000 in the U.S. often stays under $2,500 in Portugal. Prescription medications, like a month of statins, average $5 to $8. The contradiction is apparent: higher direct taxes, but medical security that removes the ever-present risk of catastrophic debt. Copays are modest. An emergency room visit with public coverage may cost just $15. The system demands a mindset shift. What you pay in taxes often returns in cost of living savings and predictability. Another contradiction lies in Portugal's property and inheritance taxes, which are lower than in many U.S. states, making long-term family planning different than many Americans expect. Living in Portugal means trading income-based tax rates for peace of mind over medical and housing costs, and deciding which risk feels easier to live with. Before ending, consider how these contrasts have changed since earlier decades. In the 1980s, many Americans saw Europe as out of reach, its bureaucracy and routines a distant curiosity. Today, Portugal draws a steady trickle of older Americans, not a flood, each bringing memories of suburban life or big city efficiency and running into a slower, deeply rooted local rhythm. The beauty and hospitality are real: a calm afternoon on a shaded bench, simple fresh meals, lower crime. But so are the challenges. Integrating asks effort. Language is a real barrier, and cold winters surprise those expecting Florida's mild nights. Bureaucracy can frustrate, yet sometimes lowers the pulse of daily life. Long-term residents see both sides: sunlight streaming through old tiles and the slow drip of a paperwork process. The full story always runs deeper than the first impression. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this.